The outbreak of the COVID-19, as you just heard our President say, it affects every one of us. So our goal together is to work together to bring all of Europe's resources to tackle this unprecedented situation. It is both lives and livelihoods that are at stake. Businesses all over Europe, and in particular smaller ones, are struggling with the effects of the actions that governments have had to take to slow down the spread of the virus. So the Commission will work quickly and decisively to help governments use resources to help citizens and businesses. Our goal is here to make sure that businesses have the liquidity they need to keep operating, and to make sure that the support reaches the companies that need it. And support for businesses in one member state mustn't undermine the unity that Europe needs, a unity that will take us through the crisis. We have to be able to rely on the European single market to help our economies weather this outbreak and to bounce back strongly afterwards. Many member states are taking action. We will work closely and quickly with them to provide the support which the economy needs, and in a way that limits harm to the single market. A part of that, we will give advice and we will share templates of the schemes that works well. There are many ways that governments can help without needing state aid approval. They can give all businesses throughout the economy a breathing space to help them cope, providing wage subsidies, suspending corporate tax payments, or the payment of VAT. But we will need to do more. And the European rules on state aid, they enable governments to take effective action. To name just 3 examples on how to compensate for damages and to provide liquidity for companies. First, in some sectors, that be tourism, transport, hotels, restaurants, well, they are hit especially hard. So we are working with governments to put in place schemes that compensate sectors for the damages they have suffered because of the COVID-19 outbreak. Wednesday, we received the first notification of state aid to tackle the effects of the COVID-19 outbreak. The Danish government submitted its plan to compensate companies that had to cancel events with more than 1,000 people. And we signed off with those plans within 24 hours. And we will work just as fast with any other member state that want to introduce schemes that compensate businesses for the damages which the COVID-19 outbreak causes. Of course, governments can also help individuals directly. This doesn't need state aid approval either. For instance, it may be that they want to reimburse people for tickets to cancelled events. The second example is that our state aid rules enable governments to put in place schemes that give small and medium-sized companies the urgent liquidity that they need. Already 9 member states have that sort of scheme in place, and we will work with others who would like to do the same or to increase the budget of existing schemes. My third example has to do with banks, because our economy's ability to weather such an unprecedented situation will also depend on banks and their readiness to lend. And some governments may want to use banks as a channel for support of the economy, including small and medium-sized businesses. We will work with governments on this. Today, more than a decade after the financial crisis, European banks, they are stronger and more resilient. If need be, in the coming weeks and months, we do have the rules in place to enable governments to ensure that banks have adequate liquidity to lend to their customers. The situation we're dealing with is changing fast. There is every possibility, there's a high risk, that the strain on our economy will grow. Governments may need to give state aid at a much larger scale. And our rules allow for wide-ranging support throughout the economy in member states that are facing serious disturbances of their economy. As I already said Tuesday in this press room, this is the case in Italy. And the situation in more and more member states is going in the same direction. So we're keeping a very close watch on the situation in all member states and staying in close contact with governments. And we are ready to respond as we did in 2008 at the time of the financial crisis. At that time, the Commission adopted a temporary framework guiding member states as to how to use state aid to help stabilise the European economy while protecting the single market. And we are now working on a new framework so that we have it ready if it becomes necessary. What matters right now is that we are prepared to move fast. And this is why we have put in place all the procedures that we need to deal with new state aid very fast. And that includes a hotline that is open 7 days a week for public authorities to raise questions, to ask for advice, to ask for a template in order to give aid to cope with the effects of the COVID-19 outbreak. The European Commission will continue to provide the necessary support to governments and to citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much.